Hey guys, welcome to another commentary. I have Rainshin alongside, and this is going to be Wemade versus STX. We have Intermind versus Cal to start, two really big weights in the league right now. Mind known actually just having really creative timing pushes, catching protoss during his run MSL Championship, just catching guys a little bit off time. Cal, one of those really creative guys himself. I gotta favor Cal a little bit in this matchup, although I'm a huge Wemade fan, to be completely honest. I love Nada. I almost feel like you've got Nada, and then you've got Mind, and there's kind of the genetic code in between with all of the Wemade team. Anyway, it's going to be on Destination, which is a really fun PvZ map, or a PvT map. But we'll see how it works out. I really think that who wins this, they'll end up in a pretty good situation to win the rest, because the next match is Kiki versus Huashin, and I think that's going to go to Huashin, and then it's Pure versus Notice, and I think that might go to Pure, and then it comes down to a ZVZ versus Com, and that could be the deciding match, or I should say that could definitely be the deciding match, depending on who takes this match right here. What are your thoughts, Ramshin?
Well, I think, you gotta look into account that this is, of course, a slightly Terran-favored map, although lately it has been a lot more balanced. Protosses have been able to adapt to the whole bridge situation, been able to hold their expansions very well, not allow Terrans to push out and take them by surprise. And, of course, I love this map in that regard. It allows all the dropship play, everything you really need to do. And I look really... Wemade and STX are two teams that I like a lot, although I think that Wemade have a couple of more like pure heavy hitters, and then you got a team of, guys that can pull off wins, but they're not really spectacular, whereas STX has a team more consistent of slightly players that have the ability to really take it, to really win Star Leagues and all that such. Mind you, Mind and Nada are, of course, Star League winners. So we're going to see that Mind is going to start off by blocking off his choke and putting up the barracks there, and we're going to see overall how Cal reacts to this. He's not a player for going anything cheesy to start off the bat, so Cal known for being very funky player, but so far seeing nothing but standard play for both guys.
I really feel like STX does have the strongest big three hitters in the league. Each team has kind of their go-to guy. Obviously, Oz has the strongest go-to guy with Jaedong. He's just an absolute beast in Pro League. But I really feel like STX combination of Jelizerg, Huashin, and then now I'm gonna blank all of a sudden, and Cal are just the really strong three players that you can work with, especially when they have that diversity of races, so you can really get a pretty good practice partner across the board. I feel like all three of those guys are A class, and that really sets them up for championships, although they haven't really been able to pull one down. I'm honestly surprised that STX doesn't do a whole lot better than they generally do. I can understand why they didn't do better in Winners League, because while Jelizerg and Cal and Huashin are very strong players overall, I don't know that they're kind of the top of the heap in that regard, although Jelizerg is champion himself, first cell being produced to kill that Marine. Looks like a cybernetic score warping as well. A little offset of a seal. There's that factory going down. It looks like we are going to see a fast expansion here from Mind, and he's also getting the nice scouting information. Doesn't look like we're seeing that okay, there's the range upgrade there from Cal. But yeah, I really feel like STX, I love it in the Pro League format just because we get to see their diversity of players, and I really feel like they have a strong set altogether. They do have a couple role players here and there that can just basically give one of those three a rest.
Yeah, it's gonna really just an overall very balanced team and good second gateway now coming up for Cal, while we're gonna see that Mind's gonna try to doesn't have a perfect block, but he's gonna try to block that off with one SCV. There still has the SCV scout inside of Cal's base, getting a perfect scout information. Dragoon is going to be forced to funnel around a little bit to try to catch that, and Mind just doing an overall very good job. Zealot now going around, going to spot that block, not going to be able to go through at all. Dragoon finally now might be able to catch the SCV scout. I'm not quite sure about, there you go, Machine Shop coming up, so he might actually be going. We're going to see whether, I'm not quite sure if this is an expansion. He might be actually going. I'm not sure how many Marines he's produced. He's produced up to 4, 5, 6 Marines. He might actually be thinking of a push, although if he gets caught by those Dragoons in a bad position, he's not going to push out scouting machine. Finally gets killed, although he has a CV there on the left side. We're going to see what he puts down to proxy. 2 Dragoons alongside that Zealot actually moving out, and Command Center, yeah, so it is indeed going to be a fast expansion, and Zealot has almost managed to kill Marine, but not going to be able to get through, and Dragoons are not going to be barreling down, so Mind is going to need that tank to push those forces back.
So it looks like I think Mind's going to put a proxy, well, he went very light on Marines here to get, I think, a faster tank out with his fast expansion. Cal looks like he's going for a 10-15 gate, so this could be very, very dangerous. Could end up losing that tank, and I think at that 9 o'clock position that we're probably going to see a proxy starport. Although, it needs to be very careful with that tank, because it looks like those Dragoons are going to back off. 2 more Dragoons going to come down. Now he's only got 2 Marines in a single tank to try to pull back, and they're going to have range momentarily to pull back all those attack forces on the front door. Looks actually that was a delayed SCV scout by Mind. He wanted to make sure he could scout Cal. Cal, of course, being one of those guys that can do absolutely anything. A very off-balance player. So hiding that scout in the back at the 9 o'clock position so he could just push through and not get sealed in. Looks like he's going to try to send that out now. He does have Siege Tech researching 4 Marines out on the front door. Looks like he's got that second factory down as well. And there's that robotics facility. So it looks like Cal going for 2-gate expansion tech, which is a little bit risky. It looks like he's going to hold up on the Dragoon production at this stage. Probably, we'll see if he goes for a Reaver harass or not, but Mine's actually in a very, very good position. Skimping on the Marines early, let him get that tank quite a bit earlier, and this usually when you do a 10-15 gate, you want to either pick off the tank or at least stop that expansion from going down to some degree, and right now Mine has enough troops that I think he's going to be able to keep. I don't think he's really going to have that much trouble pushing this. He's already got 2 tanks out, and he's already transferring the SCVs, as you can see. I don't think he's really all that concerned. Now that tank pushing forward. The Dragoon's getting a couple hits on that. That might be. Oh, the Dragoons might be able to get maybe a SCV kill, but really that's not going to be enough to justify those 2 gateways. Mine knows that he wants to seal that economic advantage, and those Dragoons now going to have to back off. So I would say Cal actually not in a great position. We'll see if he decides to switch it up to Reaver Tech to try to get some damage done in that regard. Could just go observatory. It looks like he's SCV kind of sneaking at position that upper left hand base just so he can see if Cal. Wow, Mine being very, very on top of things with that scouting. Pylon down at 3 to look for drop chips, but at SCV scout there to see if another quick expansion is going to be snuck by Cal. And wow, Mine's going to see this. That's going to put him in a great position. Yeah, it looks like that probe scout at that location. He's going to lose that SCV. It's possible that Cal might not put this expansion up, but I think Mind is going to know better, know that he's in fact going for this. And Cal's got to be frustrated because usually it's him that's really good about getting that scout out in the field and somehow sneaking it through. And right now, Mind is really schooling him in that regard.
Yeah, now he's in pretty good position. He's going to be getting that Reaver harassment going. Has the robotic support up for him. Vulture's on the opposite side now from Mine, so he's going to go around and see if he actually manages to harass that new base that Cal's going to be putting up. Engineering Bay up, so Mind is done a pretty good job. He is going to be putting those turrets up to help him against that. Oh, block coming up. Oh no, Pylon being put just in time for the Vultures not being able to go. So the Vultures are going to be forced back. 4 Vultures running around the field trying to spot around, but now we're going to see whether Cal manages to do economic damage and hold that new expansion that's going to be putting up so he can equalize and get a superior economic position for himself. Mine's not being planted over place by Mine to make sure that he gets the scouting and potential damage here and there. Always helpful. Tank in position alongside the turret for the Reaver harassment going to be coming up.
I really can't see this Reaver harass being all that successful. Mind already has, well, first of all, 2 tanks over secondary and a good amount of tanks otherwise. I really don't see it. I don't think their Dark Templar out in the field. It looks like going rather Vulture light is going to go pretty heavy tank at this stage. 3rd factory going down, 2 machine shops down, and 2 more factories being plopped down. But yeah, between those Vultures and those attack forces, I think Mine should be able to brush this off fairly easily. He's already got a siege tank and a Vulture with a couple mines in position. Looks like, yeah, that Reaver already taking a couple hits. So Cal not able to really falter Mine's economy in any regard, and he didn't even really get a scout with this shuttle.
Oh man, now the Reaver going to go down again, going to try to get 1 Scarab off. We're going to see if that's going to be a dud. Yeah, this is indeed going to be a dud. Now this shuttle's in a pretty bad position. We're going to see if it gets caught off on the left side, but something still pretty slow moving, trying to move around. I'm going to see whether he tries to actually go for some sort of economic harassment of the natural, but I think there are tanks in position there as well, so that Reaver harassment not being successful at all. I think as soon as that Reaver drops, it's instantly going to get killed, and now the shuttle's Cal smart enough not being just get fighting down. One's out, take the initial shot. Reaver shot, 1 Scarab does go off, and I'm going to see whether it's going to... Oh, again, a dud Scarab. Oh, just Cal not really lucky with the Scarab. Did get a pretty decent Zealot there on time, but he is, for his sake, he is getting down the 3rd expansion, so he's going to be able to start mining from that and get some economics going for his sake. Just right now, he really has to prevent Mine from getting down his own. Mine upset, getting his armory, so he's going to have the full forces also getting the upgrades going, possibly getting some Goliaths on the field as well. Still that shuttle firing around, just being annoying, making sure to keep away, and also putting down the expansion at the 4 o'clock.
It looks like, yeah, that was one nice thing that shuttle did, is that gave that degree of scouting information. Cal thinking about sending some Dragoons that direction, but he's been playing in the dark up to this stage. He hasn't had that observatory. And it looks like he's going to skip observatory to try to go oh, no, he does have an observatory above that refinery. So he does have that down. At least he got that scout off on that command center. Mind going a little bit on the cheap. I expected one more factory at this stage. He really doesn't need it just to hold those two bases, so I guess that is a really, really good decision with those ramps. The 3 o'clock position, he's going to take grab that, get the economic lead, and it looks like the speed zealots are what I'm expecting to see. Yeah, Cal putting down a bunch of gateways. I think he's going to go really zealot heavy here off these bases and just try to run Mind over. And I feel like this, and ooh, Mind's starting to move out himself. I think he's going to put a little bit of pressure up on the expansion. So he knows that Cal is thinking, oh, he's going through that expansion, he's going to play a little bit defensively. He could move these troops up and try to take down that third. And right as those gateways are going down, this is a really, really tender time. So once again, Mind showing the brilliance, if he does in fact push out with this, of his timing pushes, really using Cal's instincts against him, and that is that's what took him the championship, and that's really what he's really keen on. Let's see if he does. Nope, he's actually going to hold up short. So speaking a little bit too soon, just can establish position. I don't with the few Dragoons, Cal actually playing rather light there. With the few Dragoons in the shuttle, I don't know that would have been enough. Oh, Mine getting a dud mine there. 2 Reavers from Cal, a whole bunch of vultures flooding back to try to shut that down. It looks like a Goliath there, and that will back that shuttle off. But as you can see, that's the only attack force I see on the ground, is those 2 Reavers and that grouping of Dragoons, and and a whole bunch of Zealots being produced right now, and a cannon up over that 3. The thing is even though Mind hasn't really been harassed, at the same time, Cal's economy has been completely untouched, and Cal's gone very, very light. Hasn't really spent anything that he's really he's just hasn't invested a lot in units at this stage. So I think the Zealot attack could end up being very, very successful if he catches Mind right off guard. Mind putting up a starport right now. And I like this choice because the Zealots, with their speed, very good about breaking that bridge down. A little bit of harassment over that topside edge. I don't think that's going to last terribly long or really bother Cal that much. Looks like he has lost 3 probes to it. The Dragoon's backing off here. But yeah, the Zealot attack should happen here in about a minute or two, and it looks like Cal's just going to completely ignore that Vulture in the meantime, or maybe, no, actually bringing up a pretty sizable attack force to try to deal with that. And so it looks like it's going to be either an Armor 1 or Weapons 1. I'm not getting a really, I don't know what's researching at Forge. I'm going to assume that it is going to be Weapons 1, but a Weapons 1 Speed Zealot push across the bridge to try to stop that 3 o'clock expansion, to try to take a solid economic lead. And the 2 Reavers out of the shuttle, no, I'm sorry, a second shuttle up, so it's going to be 2 Reavers to support and some Zealot bombs, I think with speed before this gets established. That is a lot of tanks. It's really going to depend on Micro and Mind's part, actually. I think that might be an overwhelming attack force here.
In the shuttle inside, you can see what he flops those down, try to do some damage on the upside. Mind in a pretty decent position, has a lot of tanks positioned all over the place. He's now fighting Mind, has supplies depots as well as turrets in position. Now that's going to start off by the shuttle coming in. He's going to plot some Zealot bombs aside. I'm going to see what manages to do some Zealots.
Oh, that was absolutely crushing. There was a really key moment there for Cal where he had those Reavers inside that shuttle, and it looked like mines were just planted perfectly along that edge, and it just took out those Reavers before they could really do anything. So Mine does manage to hold with good building placement and also just really good troop positioning. Cal immediately pushing in with the second attack, and it looks like this attack is going to be successful. No Mine's in the way. Wow, Mine being very, very slow to replace that minefield in the front. He's going to be able to wipe these tanks out. And let's see if another troop of Zealots comes down to push up harassment at that 3 o'clock. Looks like that, oh man, that tank just barely surviving, able to wander. No, the tank getting taken down. And now Mine with just a skeleton crew to defend here and all sorts of troops being pumped there by Cal. Cal is going to be in a very good position to take this out. Mine needs to just either go up for some harassment and try to force those troops back or lay a minefield. I don't think Cal's actually going to care about those vultures swinging about the 3 o'clock position. I think he's just going to barrel in, make sure he takes something out. The question is did Mine get reinforcements there in time? I'm going to assume he's at least at 6 factories at this stage, if not more, off the 3 bases. Now all sorts of mines being planted at the 3 o'clock, but another Dragoon force pushing up alongside that shuttle. That shuttle was not in fact taken out, but yeah, mostly, oh man, only 2 tanks, a single Goliath, and some vultures sneaking up. And if there's an observer alongside and a couple speed belts to support, I don't think mine has enough to really cover all of his territory. But losing the shuttle, that hurts. That absolutely hurts. Dragoons breaching the bridge, but no, the Zealots not going through first, so it looks like those Dragoons gonna have to back off. Again, that's the advantage of Destination. You can hold it with a little bit more, and mine still managing to inflict a little bit of damage here at the 3 o'clock to maintain his economic advantage. Those vultures stopping mining there in the meantime.
Yeah, sorry, got bugged out a little bit there, but now finally this 3 o'clock location is going to stay pretty safe. There are a couple of mines there still going to get taken care of. Vulture's going to go around, try to probably snap a couple of probes again. Not going to work for too long, going to get petered out pretty soon. That Dragoon position starts sniping at those pretty safe. With Zealots being produced en masse again by Cal, so he's going to be ready to push down again, taking a decisive victory, I gotta say. Now is going to have Mine on the back foot. Mine is going to be very careful, just going to try to get some sort of economic harassment done. Has a lot of vultures flying out all over the place. Also going to be having to just delay, make sure Cal does not barrel down, just so he can help defend himself, and he really has to do some economic damage at this point, because that's really the only thing I see him really coming back into this game, because Cal has such a large amount of forces. Has a crap load of Dragoons, a lot of Zealots, Reavers alongside. Did lose that one shuttle. That's pretty much the one big painful thing that happened to him. But other than that, he's in pretty decent position, putting down cannons now finally at the 3 o'clock to make sure that those vultures aren't as effective. Also has a lot of Dragoons in position there to help those from doing too much damage. Temple Archives there. Didn't really see that before, but apparently now thinking of taking up a little bit more, adding some Templars so he can start storming those tanks in clump positions. And just, I gotta say, Cal is taking a decisive advantage here at this point.
Cal does have the slight economic lead here at the 3, but Mine, you gotta be careful. He's getting those upgrades up just a bit steadily. Cal going to try to take another base here to completely seal that advantage at the upper 9. And really what surprises me is that Cal hasn't gotten that higher level of tech. He hasn't gone the Arbiter tech quite yet, and he hasn't supplemented his force with Templar. And right at this stage, that is very dangerous. Weapons to upgrade now from Mind. And Mind has a very, very strong army. Cal does have weapons 1 on the opposite end, but right at this stage, even though Mind not taking additional base in that bottom left corner, Cal is scouting that and seeing that that's not in fact the case. That really is a big indicator here that Mine is thinking about pushing up an attack. He's really got the upgrades to do it, but Cal not stopping with the Reaver harass, pushing up. He's going to be able to at least get a turret. He's going to be able to stop one SCV, and it looks like a bunch of vultures trying to counterattack, but being completely engaged there. And Cal might be able to seal that upper 9, but really I think before he gets that 9, I really feel like he needs some Arbiters, or he needs at least some High Templar or something to deal with the push across the bridge that Mind is inevitably going to make. I can't imagine Mind just letting himself starve out here. Now that expansion going up at the upper 9 o'clock position, and looks like double upgrades going up for him as well, but he's as far as upgrades go, he's still behind Mind, and it looks like Mind not taking that bottom left-hand expansion, not taking anything on his side of the field. So it's just a question of when he decides to push, and if Cal can possibly stop it. Thus far, he's gone with mostly vulture harasses out into the field to try to at least delay this a little bit. 2 cannons going up, so they're a little bit late here. But yeah, I feel like he's just allowing Cal to kind of take control of this game, and Cal going in with another Reaver drop at 3. It looks like another command center has been built at that location to try to push up and take that upper 3, but Cal is going to be way on top of that, because right now it was 4 bases. Yeah, essentially 4 bases versus 3, and now Cal going up 1 on top of that. There's a High Templar in the mix, and I really feel like, yeah, Cal's starting to run away with this game, just because Mind sending out vulture harasses, but really not accomplishing a lot with them.
Unfortunate for that. Finally now Arbiter Tribunal being put up, so now Cal finally thinking of going in for the final blow, and now actually he's going to move down with a large force. Zealots first, Dragoons there to support, being caught up in the mix. Storms going off, catching a lot of good tank positions. Oh, large Mesotanks can storm the crap out of more storms going off. And apparently Cal being forced pushed back, but did do a lot of damage. And now again going to push downwards with some Zealots. Finally now has forces to support. Vultures going on to Mine now, finally getting this 3 o'clock position for himself as well. So Cal did do a lot of damage there, even though he did in the end get pushed back. Did take a lot of tanks. Wonderful storms there on him for that position. Thinking of taking his mineral only at the upper right, but there's a mine there to prevent that at the moment. Now actually going to think of going for the 3 o'clock position, seeing that it's not too supported. A couple of tanks there, sieging position, nothing but mines and vultures alongside. Mines being dragged, Zealots not finally getting taken out. Dragoon's going to come down into this position, are going to be possibly forced by mines. I think Mind actually might have reinforced just in time, has Goliaths, vultures, and tanks down alongside that science also flying out, just ready to EMP whatever it is that's necessary. So we are going to have equal bases soon, but Mind now again going to start harassing Cal with tanks from range. And there's one single Dragoon going to try and engage them. There's a vulture to help out just in case that happens though. So Cal's still keeping at a slight advantage, but if he does manage to prevent Mind from getting an equalized economy here and prevent him from harassing his own base, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble because those tanks are not preventing the mining there. Dragoons are again going to try to move in. Finally, the Zealots and Dragoons in position to take these tanks out.
What I'm really surprised is that Mind hasn't taken that lower 9 o'clock. I guess he didn't want to end up spread out in the field. He also didn't take his mineral only. Cal going in for another attack, and it looks, oh, this one's a little bit Dragoon heavy, but there's not a lot of tanks to support, so it's going to end up working okay. I guess he suicided an observer and to kind of get a good look at it. Too many Goliaths, not enough support forces otherwise. I guess he was Mind being a little bit too wary of Arbiter tech and not really doing anything else in the meantime. I think that last attack by Cal really sealed in the game. Cal finally moving out. It looks like there's another huge grouping there, and the Arbiter coming up along the way. Cal actually a little bit light on troops, so he could be in some trouble here. It's just a couple Dragoons, a couple Zealots. It's going to be down to the Psystorm, if there's any Psystorm in it. Not catching a lot with that. He's going to have to do a lot better with his Psystorms, and that one, nice Psystorm right there. That is going to push a lot of those troops back, but now he's out of those Speed Zealots to really push this back. But Cal holding up short. He's not pushing this, and there's only 4 Dragoons. It looks like 7 Speed Zealots to really stop the rest of his attack force. He's continuing to push forward now. I guess he had to push back at macro a little bit. So even though this could be the key battle right here, for a second there I thought Mind was just so far out of this it wasn't going to happen. And it looks like that might be the case. Cal breaking down. Speed Zealots able to breach the Vulture contain and get right on those tanks, and this is going to be really close. It's going to become down to the reinforcement, and I think Cal might end up winning just because he's got a shorter reinforcement point. But Mind has a couple tanks left with the reinforcements pushing up. Now he has an Arbiter produced. It's going to be a long time before that stasis is really going to be able to kick in. A Dark Templar in the mix. I think there's a Science Vessel somewhere around the field, and he's just going to try to lead Speed Zealots down to clear those mines, doing a fantastic job doing that. But critically here, if Mind can establish siege tanks anywhere near that bridge and get some sort of detection right there, there's going to be a world of hurt, because that's going to be all of Cal's army essentially contained in his base. But Zealot's able to flood down, the Arbiter able to breach this. This is just ridiculously close. This is going to be it though. If Mind cannot successfully hold this attack and either establish position on that bridge or wipe Cal out, he is going to lose this game. He's just, I think he's going to end up too far economically behind. So he's just got to persistently keep pushing this attack forward, almost taking out the Arbiter. And this is gonna, I think that's gonna be it. Cal, now has no way to reinforce. Mind pushing forward, even though he was at an economic disadvantage at this stage, still able to cap out this game. Now he just needs to get that Science Vessel out, continue pumping troops, and just camp out over that secondary and take out kind of the side holdings with stuff like this, with those siege tanks over that corner. So nice push there by Cal. And persistence pays off. Just able to get it done. Looks like there's one more Dragoon force. They're going to go all the way and around, but Mind right on top of it, planting mines to that 3 o'clock, and if he can hold this, he will in fact win the game.
It's insane turnaround overall. Now Cal being forced to pull his probes away, and Olo in a bad position. Going to send a Zealot down and try to clear the mines. Going to be doing a pretty good job though. Pretty much cleared the field. Now the Dragoons are going to have a pretty decent way. Now we're going to all just going to come down to this. The more mining Cal's not going to have, the less it's going to be. Now the Dragoons are going to be pouring down, but all tanks in a pretty good position. Vulture's not going to be able to block the Dragoons. A lot of Dragoons being followed there in a slight partial choke, you could say. Now going to be pushed back a little bit, and also a lot of mines at the bridges there. So now Cal not being allowed, there are a lot of grouping to move around all over the place. Going to take his mineral only, but I think now Mind is going to move towards this 9 o'clock again, using Siege Tank, doing an overall wonderful job. I think there's a Dark Templar there in the mix that took down one single tank there, but his Science was alongside, going to help detect those probes, take them out. Still Vulture's there at the mineral only at the upper right, and Mind is actually going to push towards that location, I think, try to take it out. I'm not quite sure what took down next. I believe he actually did so. So probes are going to be forced to engage the tanks, and when your probes are forced to engage tanks, you're in a pretty bad position. Oh, last Zealot's going to try to get all these mines, but the Vultures and tanks moving down, they are going to be able to take these bridges, and at this point I don't see what Cal can do. He had a pretty decisive lead at one point, but lost too many forces, pushed too hard, or more like he didn't push hard enough, and GG coming there from Cal. Mind takes this, winning after being behind.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll talk about more of this in game 2. Thank you for listening.
예측과 그다음에 이제 대응 이런 것들이 아주 좋았기 때문에 이 박성균 선수가 첫 번째 경기 뭐 변수 없이 김구현 선수를 잡아내는 성과를 거둬줬네요.
네, 가장 중요한 지역을 장악하고 승리했다는 박성균 선수예요.
네, 소규모 전투에서